Hey everyone, a question about the expression of emotions. Hi Claire. I have been incredibly emotional lately. I cry a lot, actually so much that I'm wondering if that is still normal. Also, I was very irritated in some situations at work, and afterwards I felt like it was really unprofessional to lose my temper. I think I've always been a very emotional person and my feelings are always very intense. I only let myself have them at home and with very few people I trust a lot. In all the other situations, it feels too dangerous, and I kind of need to make sure to always keep my emotions out of everything because I don't want to scare people away or lose control over what I say. It feels like something did break open and that there is something very important and powerful in this, and I wonder where to go with it. Sometimes I feel like a child that hasn't learned yet how to regulate their emotions. And now that I'm writing this, I wonder if I actually really haven't learned this yet. Even writing this email also seems inappropriate because I learned that I shouldn't be like this. So I have many thoughts about what anyone listening to this would think about me. Yes. Well, it makes total sense, doesn't it? And it makes sense that if the programming is that emotions are wrong, that we need to keep a lid on stuff, that we can't cry, we can't express how we're feeling, and if there haven't been, when we've grown up, opportunities with caregivers who have the capacity and the presence and the ability to be with us in emotional times and help us express what we're feeling and allow the emotion to flow through, because often for caregivers an emotional child is a reflection on them, isn't it? It's my child is upset, unhappy, either I'm desperate for them not to be unhappy because of how that makes me feel, or their emotion is inconvenient, it's disruptive, it doesn't fit my own programming of how inappropriate it is to be emotional, how weak it is. All of these things could be playing out. And so if as we've grown up and as emotions have come through and experiences have happened that have brought out that the fear in us, the loneliness or rejection, and there hasn't been a space to work it through, then yes, of course, what is learned is to repress emotions, or to pretend, to put on brave faces, to not acknowledge what's going on within us, and that becomes our life, doesn't it? And then we come into this conversation, which is fundamentally a healing conversation and fundamentally a conversation about the body, about whatever sensations are going on in the body. And then it makes sense that there would be now maybe more possibility for emotions to be expressed, or maybe certain emotions now are available to be felt that weren't possible before. So say if we were never allowed to be angry, or maybe if anger as we were growing up was really terrifying, anger might be something that has to be completely pushed away. But now through this conversation, there's more capacity, there's a greater feeling of safety, there's more sanity in terms of relationship to the reality that we're in. And so maybe now anger is bubbling up when it couldn't even be felt before. And so now maybe there's anger, and maybe now we're in a meeting and we're angry. And what do we do with this? Because on the one hand, that recognition of emotion is health. The having of the emotion is health. The the lostness within the emotion, so the identity that is stuck within it, so the anger arises and it's their fault, they're being stupid, they're being obstructive, I'm right, I'm the victim, they're the villain, I'm furious. That is really still a program running, isn't it? It's a program of identity that is caught up in that emotion. And so this newfound emotional space, if it's not really seen for what it is, can now become this space of sort of passive, that's just me, I'm just expressing how I feel, I'm just being honest. You know, it's that sort of identification with the emotion, the defense of it, and still the implicit, the emotion is there because this, how I see this situation, is real and it's true, and you're the problem, they're the problem, this is the issue. And so we're still in a sort of confused space, really, when that's happening, because that identification is just still an ongoing confusion. And so our next stage, so we've gone from repression to expression and identification, expression and total belief in the mind story, expression and disruption in relationships that emotional outburst is causing. To now, on our next and final stage is parenting the emotions in a way that wasn't possible as we were growing up. There was no one available to do that for us. And so it's led to these years of repression. It's led to now this identification with the emotions. And now there's going to be a movement into a phase of observation, and a deep observation. So not stopping at the level of anger, because when we stop at that label, stop at anger, it sort of needs who am I angry at? It needs the story, anger. But when we move through what feels like anger, and we go through and just experience the sensations in the body, then the emotional energy is allowed, it's released, there's the health of that acknowledgement and that recognition, that the having of whatever sensations are arising, and there's complete compassionate space for it, which is the truth of what we are. The presence to that emotion is the truth of what we are. It's parenting that energetic arising, and at the same time as allowing the sensations, there's a recognition that whatever the mind is creating in that moment is completely irrelevant, really. It's a relic from the past. The triggers that we're seeing in the meeting aren't what's going on. The emotion is from the past, and so is the story of us, and others, and our fears, our shame, our vulnerability, our insecurity. It's all a projection from the past. And so the narrative, the victim villain play out, isn't true. So the parenting involves simultaneously allowing the emotions and the complete, and the recognition of the complete irrelevance of whatever mental narrative is going on in that moment. And that's health. And that's how this the emotionality of the body, and there might be so much emotion there to come out. You know, yeah, it's totally normal in this conversation to cry and cry and cry and cry and to feel it all, to feel everything that's going on. And we can do it from a place of absolute sanity and health. It's ultimate health, this. So brilliant where you're getting to, and now there's this next stage of allowing the sensations, deep presence to whatever is going on, and that recognition that the story is a wild goose chase. It has no truth in what's actually happening right now. Yeah, so it's, yeah, welcome to an emotional world now, I would say, for all of us. There's nothing preventing that flow of energy through the system, and it becomes less and less personal, less and less meaningful, and it has every right to be there. Yeah. So thank you. So much love to you. Bye.